Welcome to Kevin Harvick's Happy Hour, presented by Echo Park Automotive and NASCAR on Fox. In today's Victory Lap, we have this week's winner with Christopher Bell, who claims he's not very good on the super speedways, doesn't like the super speedways, but I would assume that he likes to win. So I anticipate this conversation going pretty well. So let's hear what Christopher has to say. Well, Christopher, thank you for joining us on our Victory Lap again this week. And starting off with two speedways, you just never know how this is going to work, but it's got to feel pretty good to get one of those with a W.
Yeah, Kevin, you know how hard the season could be starting off with Daytona, Atlanta back to back, and fortunately, getting a win in the first two races is always amazing. But to do it at Atlanta, which is definitely not one that I had circled as a potential win, is something that is going to hopefully carry forward. And just now we're getting into the bread and butter of our schedule, going into Coda and then Phoenix, Vegas are all racetracks that I feel like our team can do really well, score a lot of points, and be contending for wins. So I'll take it. I'm not much of a super speedway guy, but glad to finally get a win there.
Well, I think when you look at the speedways, they're one thing, but just tell us, for me, I always felt like I was just on edge every single corner at Atlanta. Tell the fans the difference in just from Daytona to Talladega to Atlanta, because in my mind, it's a whole different ballgame in how quick everything happens and the things that you do inside the car.
Yeah, it's so weird because you have the same rules package as you do at Daytona, Talladega, but it races so different. And one thing that it is so unique about that place, it truly feels like if you're complacent on your position and you're not contesting to go forward, you're going backwards. And every race that I've run there, I keep notes, and every time in my notes, it says the time that I say I'm going to ride is I just start going backwards. And you have to be on offense to maintain your position and even think about moving forward. Where Daytona, Talladega, the track's a little bit longer in distance, and the stages are longer. So there is an element of fuel conservation that you have to be really mindful of at those style tracks, where you don't have to be as mindful of it at Atlanta. So I'm sure that plays into a little bit as well.
When you look at qualifying, we were concerned for you, and just the speed of the Fords and the way that you guys qualified. Did you ever have a concern in your mind that you guys had made the right decision on the handling side of the car, or were you confident from the things you'd done in the past that you were in a good spot?
Well, I'll be honest, Kevin, I don't really know what to think of the correlation between qualifying speed and how your car races, because I've had plenty of races. I go back to 2022, the first year of Next Gen. I swept the poles at Talladega, and we qualified really well as a group. The Toyota cars did. But those were really bad races for me in general, and we didn't perform well. Even at Daytona, we qualified well. Briscoe won the pole, which was a huge deal for Toyota and our whole team. But we didn't race well in the Daytona 500. So, we qualified bad at Atlanta, and everyone's saying that, yeah, we've got downforce in the car, we're going to race better. But you look at the Fords, and they qualify up front, and they race fine too. So I don't really know what to think of it, what to make of it. At the end of the race, you had myself and Ross Chastain restarting in the front two rows, and we qualified, both of us, in the 30s. And then you saw Austin Cindric and Blaney and Logano, Josh Berry, who were all in the top five, and they were racing there at the end too. So I genuinely don't know what to think.
Yeah, well, I guess the biggest question I would ask from a driver to driver, was it comfortable, even though you went for downforce? Was it any more comfortable to drive?
Well, so, I mean, honestly, no. Like, I had moments, especially early on in the race, where I'm really fighting the balance of the car. And it got to be middle of the second stage, and I'm telling Adam, I'm like, I don't know, man. Like, my balance is what it is. Like, I get in moments where I get really tight. I have moments where I get really loose. Like, I don't know what to ask for. I'm just asking for more grip. And his answer to that is, well, you should have more grip than everyone else. But I don't know. I mean, it worked out, and it was a unique race for me because it was eye-opening going from, in the 30s to the 20s to the high teens. My car was feeling a certain way. But then once you get put up in that top 10, in that top 5, you're like, wow, okay, like this is different. And I will say, like, getting up front, especially at the end of the race, the cars that were up front, they were pedaled down and they were feeling really cozy inside the cars. It felt like a different race inside that top 10 compared to being in the back. I guess just the amount of downforce that the car has, and the guys that are making those moves at the front, you have to feel really comfortable and confident in your car to make those moves. And I didn't feel that way whenever I was in the back of the pack. I felt like I could have crashed.
So what point did you say, I've got a shot to win this? I mean, was it just the last lap, or did you think you were in the mix there, with 20, 30 laps to go, or did it get right towards the end like it looked?
So I have felt this way for a while now. Speedway racing with the Toyotas, like our best move, or at least my best move on the 20 car, is to be behind and then try and poke out at the very end and be the aggressor coming to the line or coming to the end of the stage, whatever. Like, I haven't been super successful at leading the races, leading lines. We saw that at Daytona and in the 500 as well. So I think it was maybe 15 to go or something. I actually took the lead early, or like, I guess in the closing laps, but not at the very end. I took the lead and then I got swallowed up and went straight to the back, or straight to around 10th again. So even whenever I took the lead with 15 to go, or whenever that was, it might've been 10 to go, I passed Cindric. I didn't feel like I had a legit shot at competing for the win in the closing laps. But then whenever you have a green, white checkered and you're in the front two rows, it was definitely in that time that I was like, hey, I'm going to have a shot at it if I do my job right, and everything falls right. But you never know how it works out. You can not get attached on the restart and the bottom lane goes and your lane doesn't go, and then you have no shot. But it worked out where I could get Kyle out front, and then I had Ricky behind me who pushed me to get me beside Kyle. So I would say it was that green, white checker that really opened it up for me.
Well, it was a wild race to watch, and you did a great job there at the end. You just never know. You got to be in it to win it at the end. So you have two super speedways. Now you're going to go road course racing. That's got to be just a wild transition from the first 2 weeks to now you have to prepare for a road course. Are you relieved, happy? I know you've talked about the super speedway stuff, and you guys have run good at COTA. You've got to take a deep breath and say, all right, I made it through there. We got to win, like you said. But now you're going to COTA. Explain just the workload that goes into the road courses, and you don't put as much time and effort into the super speedway stuff other than studying and things like that. Now you go through, I would assume, a whole week of in the simulator, out of the simulator, being prepared for the road course for the first time this year.
Yeah, so Kevin, I the running joke around the 20 team is, and at least for me, I always say whenever we go to the super speedways, that's my off week, because it's a completely different game. Like it doesn't even feel like racing. Atlanta maybe a little bit more so, but you're not pushing your car to the limit of the tire and finding that grip of the right front, the left rear, the right rear. And now you're going to Circuit of the Americas, where you're literally pushing every tire, every corner to get the most out of it. So this is a completely different style of racing and a different skill set. And I think you'll likely see the players at the front of COTA be different than what you saw at the front of Daytona and Atlanta. So you're switching from playing chess to now really focusing on maximizing your race car and your feel in the car, and being able to, give feedback as to what the car needs to be better, what you're struggling with. And it's turning into more traditional racing as we get further into the schedule with COTA coming up.
Well, it's been a wild couple weeks. Super happy that you guys were able to put that car in a victory. And it's a great way to close out those two speedways for a guy that doesn't really know if he does or doesn't like super speedway racing. So congratulations. Yeah. So congratulations on getting to victory lane. That's what champions do, man. They get to victory lane even at the places that they don't like racing at. So you guys do a great start. We appreciate you taking the time today, and good luck the rest of the year.
Thank you, Kevin.